Okay, we're back on the record in calls numbers 327-354 and calls number 327-980. The court uh, previously gave Mr. Alvarez an opportunity to review the document and sign the document, which is the misdemeanor pre-admonishment, specifically the initial the paragraph under citizenship that states that if you are not a U.S. citizen or plead guilty or nolo contendere, may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization under federal law. Now, Mr. Alvarez, you've previously been sworn in, is that correct?
Can you repeat again, please?
You've previously been sworn in, is that correct? I've already swore you in.
Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. Alvarez, I see a set of initials on the line that says citizenship on page 1 of misdemeanor plea admonishment states exhibit 1. Are those your initials?
Okay.
Are those your initials?
You have an issue, yes.
Okay. And on page 2 of this document, where there are a set of initials on the line that says nolo contendere, and on the line that says, I do not request discovery and I waive my right to request discovery in this case. And are these your initials?
All right.
And previously you stated that this is your signature on page 3 of this document, Luis Alvarez, is that correct?
Not correct.
And on the next document, you previously stated that on the trial court certification to defendant's right of appeal, that the signature above the defendant, Luis Alvarez, that is your signature, is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
And the court asks you whether or not, well, inform you that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
I said that.
And the court also stated that you are waiving or giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
I said that, yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Alvarez, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you have an opportunity to review the documents?
Yes, I'm gonna review the document, yes.
Okay, and did you understand what you reviewed?
Yes, I wanna understand what I wanna review.
Okay, now, Mr. Alvarez, now, I know you said that you are from Mexico, you're a resident, and do you speak English?
Yes, I do.
All right, so you understand everything that I'm saying?
You understand everything you said, what you didn't say.
Understand everything that you read in the documents?
Excuse me?
And did you understand what you read in the documents that you signed?
Yes, I understand what documents are signed.
Okay, and is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Okay,
Okay, you said yes?
yes.
Okay. Now, state, I have before me state's exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer states 1?
Yes, Your Honor. The state will also offer exhibit number 2, which is the probable cause affidavit.
Now, Mr. Alvarez, the state is offering state's exhibit number 1. That is the document that have your initials actually on page 1 and page 2, and that document have your signature on page 3. The state would like to also offer state's exhibit number 2, and that document is what we call the probable cause affidavit, or sometimes it's commonly referred to as the police report. The state would like to use these documents as evidence against you in your case. Is it all right for the state to use these documents as evidence in your case?
Yes, the document is evident in my case, yes, I understand.
Okay, now, state, there's no objections, so state's exhibits 1 and 2 will be admitted. Now, Mr. Alvarez, is there any evidence that you are mentally incompetent to stand trial? Is
No.
there, okay, go ahead now. I thought he said, did he say something while I was talking? Let me repeat this here. Mr. Alvarez, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No.
Okay. Mr. Alvarez, I will accept your plea of no contest I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The state is offering 10 days jail time, credit for time served, taxing and retiring court costs, and this is to run concurrent with case number 327980.
Mr. Alvarez, the state is offering that you serve 10 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in jail on this case because you've already served 10 days in jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. If you owe any court costs on this case, you would not have to pay the court costs either because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, your court costs will be taxed and retired. And this case will run concurrent with cause number 327980, which is your second case. Now, Mr. Alvarez, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, I understand what you said.
And do you accept, do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, I understand.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, that's an offer, yes.
Okay, now, Mr. Alvarez, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Alvarez, we have another case. Your second case is cause number 327980. And in this case, Mr. Alvarez, the information alleges that on or about October 2nd of 2020, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest detention. Now, Mr. Alvarez, do you understand what you've been charged with in this case?
Yes, I understand.
And to this charge, Mr. Alvarez, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Mr. Alvarez, how do you plead?
No
Guilty?
contest.
What did you say?
No contest.
No contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? Are you pleading no contest freely and voluntary?
Yes,
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Now, Mr. Alvarez, do you plead no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
yes,
Okay, Mr. Alvarez, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. In this document, Mr. Alvarez, there's one box that's checked that states that this is a Class A misdemeanor. And at the bottom of this document, there are a set of initials. And the initials is next to the paragraph that's titled citizenship. And in this paragraph, it states, if you are not a U.S. citizen, a plea of guilty and nolo contendere may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization under federal law. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
And Mr. Alvarez, you are not a U.S. citizen, is that correct?
I'm not a citizen, I'm resident.
You are a resident, is that correct?
Yes,
And do you still want to go forward with your plea? Do you still want to go through with your plea?
yes, I'm through.
Okay, you want to go through. All right, now, Mr. Alvarez, on page 2 of this State's Exhibit number 1, there are a set of initials. One set is on a line that says nolo contendere. Is that your initials?
My initial, yes.
And there's another set of initials on the line that states that I do not request discovery of the evidence and I waive my right to request discovery. Are these your initials as well?
Yes, initial the well, yeah.
And On page 3 of this document, there's a signature above the line that says defendant, and that signature is Luis Alvarez. Is that your signature?
That's my signature, yes.
And on the next document, which is a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there's a signature above the line that says defendant, and that signature is Luis Alvarez. Is that your signature?
That's my signature, yes.
And on the next, well, on the same page of this document, at the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that are checked. The first box says that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
And the second box states that you are waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
I understand that, yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Alvarez, prior to signing these documents, the court explained, gave you the court's or the judge's explanation of rights to defendant without an attorney. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you were informed that you had a right to hire an attorney, or if you did not have enough money to hire an attorney will be appointed to represent you, or you may represent yourself. Is that correct?
I want to appoint, I want to attorney represent to me because I don't have money.
I didn't understand what you said.
I said, I want an attorney to represent me because I don't really have money.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So you want an attorney to represent you?
Yes,
You want an attorney to represent you?
yes.
Okay, well, what we're gonna do, since he wants an attorney to represent you, the court is we gotta get him to fill out a financial questionnaire, and then they'll get that to the court, and then we'll go over these documents. Of course, at this time, is not gonna follow the plea bargain agreements that we've entered in. We're gonna withdraw those plea bargain agreements we're not gonna follow the plea bargain agreements in clause number 327354 and clause number 327980. At this time, the court has been informed that by the defendant, Mr. Luis Torres Alazar, that he would like to have an attorney to represent him. And so therefore, the court is going to allow him to fill out a financial questionnaire to see if he meets the eligibility requirements to have an attorney to represent him. At this time, the court